Hello and welcome to Salford Now. I'm David Patcher.
And I'm Natasha Pearce.
Coming up on today's programme.
Meet the man that raised £55,000 cycling for charity last year.
I wish my dad wouldn't have died. I wish we wouldn't have needed to have done it. But I'm glad that he knew that we were doing it. And the love and support we got from people was incredible.
We chat to a Salford resident whose fashion-forward thinking brought him to Salford.
And no future for Salford Pub, which is being demolished today. We have the latest updates from our reporter, George Bate. Most United fans may know Andy Meaton as the editor of the United We Stand magazine. Last year, along with his brothers and two friends, they cycled from Barcelona to Manchester to raise a whopping $55,000 to buy a new ambulance for the St. Annes Hospice.
Andy wanted to raise money for the hospice in memory of his dad, who spent his last hours there. Now Andy's handed over the keys to the ambulance to the staff of the hospice. Olivia Mullally reports.
There's a happy ending to it. I wish my dad wouldn't have died. I wish we wouldn't have needed to have done it. But I'm glad that he knew that we were doing it.
Andy Meaton had the best reason to raise money for this ambulance after his dad died of cancer at St. Annes Hospice. A 2,000-kilometre fundraising cycle later and enough money raised for the ambulance, the keys have now been handed over.
I'd love to say my dad was here for a very happy last 6 weeks of his life. He wasn't. It was 4 hours, but my family really felt support in those 4 hours. I spoke to people here about, do you need anything tangible? And they said, we'd love an ambulance. They said it was £40,000, and I thought, that's a lot, but it's not £4 million, we've got half a chance.
Every year, St. Annes Hospice helps over 2,000 people. With this new ambulance, it will allow for an additional 200 journeys from the hospice to the hospital.
The ambulance will allow patients to get to appointments on time, and Ian Jackson, the ambulance driver, praises the new ambulance for helping him with his job.
On the fear that the ramp is too short, it's a lot shorter than that. Now, you need a long ramp like this because when you put a wheelchair on the back, especially a big wheelchair, one that's probably an electric one, they're really big and heavy. Whoever's driving it's got to stand at the back of them, so obviously you need the room.
Andy and his friend Daniel both admit that there were difficult moments during the fundraising cycle.
It did seem to be puncture after puncture. I think there was a bit of fatigue in the group, wasn't there? And people's maybe starting to have had enough.
But they had to finish it in memory of Charlie.
Felt that I'm doing this no matter what. It's just one of the best things we've done. It was a massive team effort, amazing experience to do it, and just to get the support that we got so that we could buy an ambulance. We went way over the target.
The team raised £55,000 in total, with £40,000 paying for the new ambulance.
The additional money that's gone to a second ambulance over at other site in Field Green, which again is making a huge difference to the lives of people in Greater Manchester, so we just couldn't be more grateful.
You're up for doing something in a few years?
Maybe in a few years now.
Do you agree though?
Olivia Mullally, Salford Now.
Next, for many, the pub is a great place to meet, which brings communities together, big and small. Indeed, the Chancellor used yesterday's budget announcement to give us a financial boost to pubs.
For one pub in Salford that's come too late, our reporter George Bate is at the Wolfpack pub in Pendleton, which is being demolished today, to the disappointment of many residents. George, what can you tell us?
Well, Natasha, the Wolfpack pub closed in 2008 and it was placed on the market by Salford City Council for £175,000. However, ever since, residents have voiced their concerns and told the council how they really want the pub back open. This included Bez from the Happy Mondays, who in 2016 arrived here with an army of volunteers to promote the pub through local news and media outlets. Last night, Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, has announced a freeze on alcohol tax for all pubs across the country, as well as a £5,000 business discount for these said pubs. This is what he had to say.
Pubs are at the centre of community life, but too many have closed over the past decade. We're already promised to introduce a business rates pubs discount of £1,000 for small pubs. But I've heard calls from many honourable and right honourable members, including my honourable friend, the member for Dudley South, that we need to do more.
This pub has been closed for over 12 years now, and with demolition starting soon, this may be the last time residents will see their beloved pub. Back to you, David and Natasha.
And now the latest updates on the coronavirus. The Lowry Theatre has cancelled the Literature Festival Words Weekend, which has to take place at the end of the month due to the spread of the virus. In a statement, the artistic director, Beth Gallimore, said that although it was a difficult decision, the health of the public must be the priority. In Salford, there are no confirmed cases of coronavirus, leaving the case count at 590 in the UK. Yesterday, COVID-19 was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization. The advice from the NHS is to wash hands for 20 seconds, cover coughs and sneezes with tissues. Worldwide, 68,000 people have recovered from the virus. In China, 81% of the cases were reported mild, meaning that the illness didn't develop into severe stages. This according to the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar announced this morning that all schools and colleges are to close as part of the new measures against the spread of the disease. This follows the death of the elderly woman in the country yesterday, which was linked to the virus. And in other news, the cleanups begun in Salford Quays after the flooding saw the water piled with debris and waste. Crews have been removing rubbish that had been left floating for weeks after being swept into the quays during storms Dennis and Sierra. Now over to David with a new feature, Humans of Salford.
Yeah, thank you, Natasha. This is your chance to hear real stories from local residents. Today I'm here with Daniel Quay, whose passion for fashion brought him to Salford. Daniel, welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
So this all started really when you were teaching an art class and someone thought it would be a good idea to teach you English.
Yeah. back was back home in Ghana. Yeah, I was teaching her how to draw and paint. Mm-hmm. She went to university and she came back and told me I'm really clever, how clever I was. And I believe that, and that's how I started learning how to read and write.
And then after this, so you learned English, and then you got a job designing costumes for a carnival.
Yeah, from Ghana. It was a friend who introduced me to this lady who lives in Luton.
And then, so what kind of costumes did you design for them?
It's basically, these ladies wore it on the very day of the carnival. Mm-hmm. So it's really fashionable and fancy.
So we can see it behind us there.
Yeah.
Beautiful costumes.
Yeah.
What kind of work goes into making a costume like that?
A lot of work. A lot of work with materials and things that I never done before. But I did it.
But you did it.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you came from Luton, where the carnival was, and came to Salford. What inspired the move?
Before that, I've been here a week. When I came here to visit my sister, and I like it here. So when I decided to stay, back in Luton was so busy in London, so that was the reason I moved to Salford here.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you.
And now we have Isabel Blakemore with the weather.
Good afternoon. On a windy and cold day here in Salford, temperatures are around 7 degrees and we are expecting some rain towards the end of today, reaching about 9 degrees. But that's not stopping anyone who is doing the bungee jump right behind us. Moving into the weekend, it is going to be a very rainy weekend with mild rain on Saturday and heavy rain on Sunday. So if you are going to the Sausage and Cider Fest in Manchester this weekend, be prepared and pack an umbrella. Moving into next week, it will be a mild start to the week with partial cloud and low chances of rain. So if you are going to the Salford City match versus Mansfield, be prepared as it is an evening match and be wrapped up warm.
Thank you, Isabel. That doesn't sound too great, unfortunately, and there is now even more uncertainty about big events being cancelled, like football matches and concerts.
Yeah, that's right. And I suppose only time will tell, but for now you can keep up to date on all the coronavirus and all things Salford on our website, salfordnow.co.uk.
Or follow us on Twitter @Salford Now.
That's all we've got time for today.
Thanks for joining. Goodbye.
Bye.